It's the Casanovians. Alright, boys. In this one, I want to have a little talk about how to cold approach in a new city when you literally know nobody, even if you're a complete beginner. So, yesterday we had our weekly Entourage group coaching call. So it's where we get all of our guys together and we talk about what we've been up to, the wins that we've stacked, anything that people are struggling with, and these calls happen every single Sunday, so weekly group coaching calls. It's really good for overall accountability. If you're somebody at the moment and you're going out there, you're going out on your own, you've got no accountability, you've got nobody giving you feedback, you've got nobody in your life to normalize going out and cold approaching, it can be difficult at the start. So we were having a conversation and one of our guys, he brought up a really interesting topic, something that he's experienced recently, and I wanted to dedicate this live stream and give you boys a battle-tested blueprint for whenever you find yourself in a brand new city, you know nobody, you've got a lot of doubt going through your mind, maybe you're not quite up to speed with how that particular city works. So if you're a guy and you're based in London and then you go to a city that you've never been to before, oftentimes you get a new sense of anxiety because you're like, oh, am I allowed to do this here? How are the people gonna react to me? Will things go wrong, right? So you get these kaleidoscopes of fear, this kaleidoscope of fear. So on our call yesterday, one of our guys, he's recently gone to a new city. He's never been to this city before, and he explained to us a blueprint which he applied, which he called building up a session. And I wanted to share this blueprint because I think it's going to be really useful for you. So let's get into it. So building a session. Okay, so when he first got to this city, he decided that just going out straight away, doing 10 direct call approaches, it felt a little bit too much, right? So he almost wanted to test the water in a new city. So he just took things step by step, like really baby stepping his way and crescendoing towards confidence. It doesn't even matter what level you think you've got to. There's never any shame in going back to, let's just call it a beginner blueprint, and just feeling as though, okay, I'm in a new city, I don't know what I don't know. Let's just go step by step and build our way up gradually. So the first step for him was just getting outside, all right? And that is like the first step that it's going to be for you, whether you're in a new city or whether you want to start cold approaching in your home city. The mantra that I like to give to my guys is never be at home. Okay, if you want to master this skill set, you're not going to be able to practice cold approach if you're spending all of your time on your own at home. Okay, so step one is just get out of the house. Just by positioning yourself in environments where social interaction is possible, that's step one. Right? Get out of the house. I think it's easy, especially when you go to a new city, to crave comfort and make excuses for yourself. Like, oh, well, I don't know anybody here. I don't know the rub of the city. I don't know how the people are going to respond to me. So I'm just going to chill. I'm going to chill in my apartment. I actually think that is one of the best pieces of advice that you can take away from this stream is as soon as you get to a new city, regardless of what time of day it is, regardless of how you're feeling, regardless of how fatigued you feel, regardless of the voice inside your head, just go out for a walk, right? Just go out for a walk. It could just be you walking on your own, just to get a feel for the city, just to force yourself to be outside. And then maybe you can take yourself to a bar or to a cafe or just go through a busy area of the city just to get yourself acclimatized to the area. And now you feel more connected to the city. Now you feel more like an active player rather than a static spectator. A lot of guys who start solo traveling, what I found to be true is they make the mistake of just staying at home for that first night. And then we become what we practice. The mind, it craves comfort. So it's almost like you're setting the precedent for how this solo expedition is going to continue. So just get outside, day one. As soon as you've landed, even just like making eye contact with people, if you've just gone to an airport or a train station, just making eye contact with people, just starting as you mean to go on. But let's just say step one, never be at home, get outside. And then once you have gone outside, the next thing that our Entourage guy did was he just started asking for directions. And this is, just to pre-frame this is a guy who has been cold approaching now for well over a year. He solo traveled to a lot of extreme environments, extreme locations. So he's not a beginner when it comes to this stuff. But even he decided just to take it slow, to build his way into the session, to crescendo his way towards confidence, just because he's not been to this particular city before. So get outside, and then he just started asking for directions, nice and simple. I think it's just so important for you to always remind yourself that just don't put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect. I think a lot of guys who want to learn cold approach, they watch infields on the internet and they just think that, oh, I need to be going out, I need to be doing 10 direct cold approaches, day one, everything needs to be flawless. If I get rejected, then I'm an unlovable piece of shit. No, this is why I broadcast my rejections. This is why I show you the ugly side of cold approach. This is why I show you everything, because we need to normalize this process more, right? We're not machines. So you go outside, never be at home, and then just start asking for directions. All this is going to do is get you used to approaching new people in a new city, okay? Because even if you're just going over and saying to people, hey, where's Starbucks? Where's the nearest train station? Where's Zara? It's telling your mind that it's okay for you to approach people in this new city, and it's giving you permission, right? Permission is, in my experience, one of the main elements which is lacking from guys when it comes to cold approach. Permission to show up as your most authentic self, permission to approach women who you find attractive, permission to start conversations with strangers. A lot of the guys who I work with one-to-one, they operate their lives like closet heterosexuals, right? They are almost ashamed to be men, to have sexual desires, to actually want to go over to women and put smile on face and create these healthy, full-bodied relationships. So there's a lot of shame attached to the actions that they're taking. And this is only because you've not done it enough, right? Again, we become what we practice. So if you can just start off ground zero, get outside, and then just start asking people for directions, get used to going over to people, saying something, and then don't just run away after they gave you a response. Let's say you go over to, it could just be a moderately attractive middle-aged lady. Again, just keep things simple at the start. You go over to her, maybe she's walking relatively fast. Let's say you manage to get her to stop. That's a massive win in itself. So you make eye contact, you're like, hey, where's the nearest train station? And she might give you, like, maybe she gets her phone out, maybe she starts telling you where to go. And then if you want to, which I would recommend, just continue the conversation for a little bit. You can just be like, oh, do you live here? Oh, you know where it is. That's amazing. Like, are people always so friendly in this city? And then you can just get like a little conversation going. Maybe you make an observation about the way that she was walking. Maybe you can compliment her on her energy. You could be like, listen, I only came over here for directions, but you actually seem like a really cool person. Like, your energy, there's something about you which I really appreciate. So thank you for being so friendly. I hope more people are as friendly as you in this city. I'm actually new here myself. And then she's like, if she's interested, she might be like, oh, where are you from? And now, boom, you've got a conversation going, right? This is as basic and as simple as it gets, but it works, right? You've got outside, never be at home, lead with the intention of just getting some directions out the way, because by doing these directions, you're going to tell your mind it's okay for you to do. You can watch a million infields online, but all they're doing is they're telling you that it's okay to cold approach. But what they're really doing is they're saying it's okay for the person doing it, that it's okay to cold approach. So you could watch me approach a million women, but all that's doing is showing you that I can do it, that it's okay for me. Your mind wants to know that it's okay for you. And that's why you have to transmute information, which is what I'm giving to you on these streams, to implementation, right? I give away information. All of the information you could possibly need is on this channel. It's in the free courses. The reason why people pay me money to work with me one-to-one is because you've already got all of the information. You already know what you need to do. It's the implementation that you lack. There are thousands of hours of videos about how to get a six-pack, but still, most of the world is not in shape. Why? Because they don't have implementation. They don't have accountability. They don't have people in their corner who are pushing them, who are holding them accountable. Like, hey, did you do the reps today? How's the nutrition going? Check in with me, right? So you already know what you need to do. You're just not doing it. And that's the reason why you're continuing to watch these streams. Information can only take you so far. It's implementation what you need. So don't watch these videos purely for entertainment. If you're just watching these videos to pass the time, stop watching them, honestly, because these videos are designed for you to get out there and just start taking massive action. Otherwise, you've spent a decade of your life watching videos and nothing's changed. Don't be that guy. It's a waste of fucking time. If you're just watching me for entertainment, stop watching these videos. So, never be at home. Go outside. Start asking people for directions. And as soon as you started stacking these social wins, you're already going to start to feel more confident. You're already going to start to be able to experience success in advance. This is literally what our Entourage guy did. Again, he's a seasoned player in the realm of cold approach. And this is the blueprint that he decided to follow. So, he did his directions. I think he did a couple of directions. And then he started walking around the city, and then he just transitioned into a compliment, right? So go outside, direction, and then just starting giving out a few compliments, even if it's just quick fire compliments, even if it's just like as a woman is walking towards you. So it's kind of like this, just like complimenting on like as you walk past each other. And then the other thing that he said, which I think will be really useful for any beginner who's watching this, is he learned to laugh at the rejections as fast as possible, okay? So when you go to a new city and you are solo traveling and you don't have anybody who's going around and winging with you, it can feel quite lonely and it can feel quite socially vulnerable, because let's say you go over to a girl in a brand new city and you get an undesirable reaction. It can start to knock your confidence, especially if you are in a new city. 'Cause it's like, especially if that's your first approach, like the first direct approach that you've done. It's like, oh, maybe people are not friendly here. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe all the women are not going to like me. So then you start to get in your own head. What he did was he immediately just started to laugh every time he got rejected. So he told a story about there was a group of two girls. He went over to them. I think it was like the third or fourth approach he did that day. One of the friends was into it, but the other one just completely blanked him, kept walking, and then he made eye contact with the friend, and he just burst out laughing. Just laughed his way through it, right? And when you are solo traveling, and you are cold approaching solo, you do need to have a sense of humor with this. It's important not to take yourself, the situation, or the girl's reaction too seriously, because you don't know what's going on in her life. You don't know, maybe she just had a really heated argument with a family member. Maybe pets just died. Maybe she's received some bad news. You don't know, right? You don't know what's going on with people. But the only thing that we can control is our reactions to the situation, right? We control the actions that we take, and we control our reactions to the situation. Shakespeare, nothing's good nor bad, it's the thinking that makes it so, right? You didn't get rejected, it just is, right? So it's how are you going to decide to actually react to that? So never be at home, asking for directions, going into compliments, and understanding that if you do get undesirable outcomes, do your best to laugh it off. Again, it's much easier if you've got a group of guys with you. What our guys have found to be valuable inside the Entourage is, even though when our guys are solo traveling across different cities across the world, even though they don't always have the rest of our guys with them, they've got the private WhatsApp group that they can lean on. So it's like having wingmen in your pocket. And they also know, oh, I'm going to be going to the group coaching call later on, so I can talk about these things with the boys, right? So you've got that sense of permission, accountability, brotherhood, network. That's important. So even if I'm not with my guys in person, I'm only a WhatsApp message away. The group is only a WhatsApp message away. They can send voice messages, they can send video messages. It's like having wingmen in your pocket. That does make the notion of solo traveling and solo cold approaching in a new city a lot more mentally manageable. So then he started giving out compliments, and then he was starting to find his flow after this. But understand, this is what building a session actually looks like, right? You get to a new city, you don't know anybody, you're starting to get in your head, you're thinking, oh, maybe I should just stay in tonight, maybe I should just watch Netflix, maybe I should give myself a week, and then maybe I'll go out and cold approach. But you've gone to city because you want to meet people, right? You're not there for the architecture. You're not there to look at the nice cathedral. You're not there to sightsee. You've gone there because you want to meet the women. So don't bullshit yourself, okay? Never be at home. Get outside. Start being social. Start asking people for directions. Remind yourself, this is so important, belief follows action, right? Belief follows action. If there's one mantra that you ever take away from my videos, let it be that. Belief follows action. You might not be in the mood to go to the gym. You might not be in the mood to talk to somebody. You might not be in the mood to sit down and create a piece of content, but you'll start wanting to do it once you start doing it. Again, belief follows action. So once he started giving out compliments, he'd been rejected a couple of times, he started to dissipate the ego after that, right? He was like, okay, I'm in the city now, I've got my reps in, I've been rejected, I've asked someone for some rejections, I've given out some direct compliments. It doesn't actually take long. Like if you follow this blueprint step by step, it won't take you long to start to feel acclimatized to the city. And then by the end of his session, he met an absolute stunner. He was with her for about 30 minutes in some like deep conversation, making ferocious eye contact, like really just how, you know, when sometimes you just meet somebody and you're in that private bubble of conversation where you're with that girl, you're super locked in, and it's like for that moment, the rest of the world doesn't matter. So it's like, this is why I try and say to you, the way you start is not the way that you finish. The way you start is not the way that you finish. When our guy got to this city, he wasn't in the mood. He wasn't feeling social. He would have rather just stayed at home and twiddled his thumbs and thought about approaching. But the way that you start is not the way that you finish. He followed this battle-tested blueprint, went outside, started making eye contact with people, asking for directions, giving out compliments, getting rejected here and there, and then by the end of the session, had an insanely good conversation with an absolute stunner, spoke with her for about 30 minutes, and then he got to the end of his session and he was like, this is it. Like, this is it right here. Like, I understand it. Like, regardless of where I am, I just need to follow this blueprint. Like, whenever I go to a new city, get outside, directions, compliments, accept the rejections, laugh your way through them, lean on the WhatsApp group, have that accountability, check in with the boys every now and again just to give myself that added accountability. And that was really useful for him. So if you're somebody, even if you're doing this in your own home city and you want a blueprint, that is the blueprint right there. I go even deeper as well. If you've not downloaded my free course yet, Conversation Killer, then go download that. If you're a complete beginner to cold approach, I literally lay out the entire cold approach blueprint in that course. I give you the entire blueprint. I show you how even the most introverted of guys can get started and get results from daytime cold approach. So yeah, download that course, Conversation Killer. I've got another course as well. Again, I give all this stuff away for free. Information, in my opinion, should be free. So I give away all this information. What I charge money for is implementation. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, if you want to become part of my private network, if you want to travel the world with me, you want to get mentored by me personally, you want to be part of our private WhatsApp group so you never feel as though you're on your own, you've got wingmen in your pocket 24/7, then that's what the Entourage is for. Link for that is below. I really hope that you boys have found this video useful, and I'll speak with you boys again tomorrow. Bye!